Hi, my darlings. I'm Sophie Darling, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're reacting to episode 16 of series 2 of Vinland Saga. I had to think then because my brain trying to keep track of all these episodes at the moment is kind of insane because we're watching so many different things. But last episode, we saw Arnheid embracing the storm. She frees Garda. They have escaped, but they're being hunted down by Snake and his men, and there is no mercy. Snake is out to kill Garda, but he can't kill Arnheid because she is the master's responsibility and property, and unless ordered to do so, he can't touch her. But whether Kettle would be so forgiving that she tried to escape, I don't think so. I think if she does die, it may be at Kettle's command or accidental. We also had Thorfinn bringing up the idea of Vinland to Einar and setting sort of the course of action that they need to go. And he's saying that it's going to be a lot of work, that it's not something that can just be achieved in a year or so. It's something that's going to take a lot of time and considerable effort, but it gives them a sense of hope and purpose, especially when Aina was feeling so kind of dejected over the fact that he doesn't feel like he can really do anything to end the idea of war and slavery. He's like, well, how do we stop this, especially if we forsake violence? How do we bring everyone in line with our thought process? How do we make them understand that this is wrong? Stealing people's freedom and subjecting them to violence and cruelty is bad. How do we make them see that without being just as evil as they are by forcing them? And that's where his frustration's coming from. And Thorfinn's trying to make him understand, like, this cultural perspective is something that is very much ingrained in the Vikings, that it's passed down from father to son, this glory of war and bloodshed and taking slaves as evidence of your wealth and your prosperity and of gaining money from selling them and trading them. So that's what he's essentially saying to him, is that the biggest issue is it is cultural, it's generational. How do you prevent fathers from teaching their sons the only thing that they know when it's so culturally ingrained and it's normalized? It's hard for them to break away from that because they're seen as cowards, they're seen as outcasts. And he essentially said to be weak in this society is akin to a death sentence. So, of course, men are going to aspire to this goal of ultimate masculinity, and they're going to teach that to their sons because they don't want their sons to die. They don't want their sons to be seen as weak or cowards. So it's just a repetitive cycle, but nothing changes. And the harm that it causes to not only their sons and the next generation and the next generation, but to all the people they encounter is irreparable. And Thorfinn knows that because of his own experience, which is what his father wanted to save him from, because his father tried to break that cycle, tried to raise his son to be a different man, to be better. But unfortunately, that just didn't end up happening because Thorfinn was too young to understand the message that his father was teaching him. And then he saw his father brutally killed before his eyes and fell into this cycle of revenge and also the glorification of violence, because it's seen as completely understandable and normal for him to want to do this. So of course he's going to fall into that nature because he's surrounded by people that are doing that, that think it's normal, that don't ever highlight to him that there's anything wrong with it. So he's going to repeat what he sees because he was so young when he fell into that lifestyle. Of course, he's now in the process of atoning for that. He doesn't want to be the man that he was. He understands that what he did was wrong, and he wants to carry the weight of the dead with him as he pushes forward to a better life. He wants to give them peace and set them to rest, but the only way that he can do that is to rebuild, is to repair what he has broken, leading by example, setting the tone that violence isn't accepted and that he won't participate in it. Of course, I still think he's going to have a big test thrust upon him, especially because he now knows that Garda and Arnheid have attempted to escape and they're being looked for. I think Thorfinn's going to want to help them because, again, he's against the idea of slavery. He's against war. he, like Aina, wants Arnheid to be free, and I think he's going to try and help him escape, and he's going to try and hide him and maybe try and go the pacifist approach. But I think he might find himself having to confront Snake and his men, and that he kind of has to try and figure out what his options are. But I think it is ultimately going to come down to a moment between him and Snake, especially because Snake was the one to snap him out of his depression. When Thorfinn was ready to embrace death, it was Snake that brought him out of that. It was Snake that made him realize he doesn't actually want to die, because his body reacted to the attack that Snake tried to throw upon him. And what he said to him is that if you truly wanted to die, you wouldn't have reacted that way. You wouldn't have tried to protect yourself. So you don't want to die. And then the idea that his final test of whether he really has changed or not, maybe against the very man that made him realize that he didn't want to die, is quite poetic, in that this will also be the catalyst for what direction he goes in. If he goes backwards or if he goes forwards, if he becomes the man that his father always dreamt of him to be. I still really want Thorfinn to see Canute. I think that's going to be really, really interesting, especially because they're kind of on opposite ends now. In series 1, Canute was seen as this really righteous, moralistic figure that was doing good and trying to do good, and Thorfinn was this angry, vengeful young boy that just couldn't see anything else but violence and wanting to kill Askeladd. Whereas now they've switched. We have Canute, who is waging war and conflict and shedding blood, all in the name of building this utopia. And you have Thorfinn, who is becoming more attuned with religion, in terms of he's learning from it. He's finding that the messages resonate with who he's trying to be, of trying to find peace and loving his enemies, and this idea of unconditional love that his father was trying to teach him about not having any enemies. And it's a good message for him. It reiterates what he was too young to learn at the time from his father, but he can connect it back now as an adult and from his prior experience, so that he can find how it resonates with what Thors was teaching him, and he can put that into action. So it's just interesting how they've ended up on different sides of each other. And I would love to see sort of Thorfinn confront him on that he's almost a hypocrite for everything that he's done. And maybe Canute might feel a sense of shame, but I think Canute's too far gone to really care. But it will be interesting to see if he lashes out violently at Thorfinn and Thorfinn doesn't return the favor, because then that would really go to show how different they are now, how Thorfinn is striving to be a better man as Canute is going backwards and becoming his father, the man he always swore he would never be. Just an amazing, amazing series. I love Vinland Saga so much, and I'm really sad that we don't have much longer before this is over, and no announcement as to when series 3 is coming. But without further ado, let's get into episode 16, and hopefully no tears. Hopefully. Oh, the music is so jarring. Like, it puts you on edge. But you could see Thorfinn was so worried when he knew that Arnheid and Garda had got away. It's also going to be like his father, where his father helped that slave, even if it meant risking his life in the process, because he knew that it wasn't right that a human life could be treated this way. So he's almost doing what Thors did in series 1 by helping Garda. I think he's going to help them. I don't think he could stop himself. Even he's worried, because Snake is not gonna let this go. He's pissed. His men have been killed, so of course he's angry. Garda has another wound though. They did mention that there was blood on the sword. Oh yeah, they don't know that Arnheid went because she told them not to go and that she was going to forget about it because she wanted to keep them safe. But she went and they don't know that. Oh, I love how selfless he is. Like, he knows that he'll never be with Arnheid, that she doesn't love him, but he wants to help her in any way that he can because he loves her. Is she going back to her task as if nothing happened? As if they don't know? Wait, Snake thought that she got taken back. Ah, that's actually quite smart. But they're keeping an eye on Arnheid. Okay, he doesn't know that Arnheid was there helping him because, as far as they were aware, she got taken back when Snake left. And everyone that was there that witnessed that Arnheid had helped Garda were killed in the process. So she's gone back and she's acting as if nothing has happened because she doesn't want to raise the alarm. But Sverkel is looking a little stressed, and I thought it was worry for Arnheid, but is he stressed because he's helping hide Garda? That he knows that Garda's being hidden? Because I think with everything that's happened, Arnheid would trust to bring him here because he was the one that was kind of understanding her position and telling her that even if you wait out the storm, it still leaves its scars behind. So he basically was saying to her, like, you have to make a decision that you can live with because there's going to be a consequence and an impact regardless. And I think she would maybe trust that she could have his confidence, especially because she's taking such good care of him. I don't know, but maybe in a situation of desperation where she doesn't know where to go or who to go to, she might bring him here in the hope that Zverkel can try and intervene and mediate the situation, but I don't think there's any mediation, and that's why they're here, is they're camping out because they're keeping an eye out to see if Arnheid goes to Garda, and then they can find him because they're like, well, Arnheid will either go to Garda or Garda will come to Arnheid. So they're keeping a close eye on her. But now Aina and Thorfinn have arrived. They're probably going to be told by Arnheid that she's hiding Garda, or they discover Garda, and they're going to try and help her by getting him out of the farm. He's listening. He's not asleep. He's listening. Oh, she's very much in the dark and they're very much in the light, which seems like foreshadowing that her life is not going to be as optimistic as theirs. That the path she's embarking on could lead to her doom. Oh, she's gonna confess. That visual contrast every time. I love it so much. So nobody saw her, so it keeps her safe. He senses it. He's not stupid. His warrior nature. He's like, we can't let them know that we know what's going on. And now they're out of the light and into the dark. They're embracing her path. Where is he? Where is he being hidden? But Snake is also here. He did! I knew that he would. But now they're trapped and they can't leave because Snake won't leave. So they're always going to be where she is, which means she can't leave with Garda because Garda won't go without her. Because she couldn't bear the thought of leaving the man she loved to suffer after everything they've both been through. Oh, Arnheid. Oh, it breaks my heart. Just wanted the chance for them to both be happy. It was a hope for something else, for a future together. Oh. They're going to be a distraction so that Arnheid and Garda can maybe get away. Because Garda won't leave without her. But she can't leave if Snake's always watching her. He's making the choice to help. You have a choice. Stay here or leave and be free. This is the freedom that Aina's always wanted for her. Because he's always wanted her to be free. So he'll risk everything to give her that if that's what she wants. He doesn't want her to live a life as a slave. They want her to be free. They want her to have a chance of a happy future in life away from all of this. Because no one deserves to be a slave. They're putting their philosophy into action. I was going to say, he's never subscribed to that. Because of how he treated Aina and Thorfinn. It has everything to do with this. But you would have done the same in his situation. That's what he's trying to tell you. Revenge gets you nowhere. It just begets more death. Like Thor's did. Throw your sword down and become a better man. Rather than destroy it. It's a simple but honorable life. He cares more for Snake than he does his own son. He's such a good guy. You were thinking about it though. Are they using Aina? Because Aina looks like Garda. I said this like, oh, Aina and Garda look very alike. Are they using him as like a decoy so then they can distract them? He can lead them on a wild goose chase. And it gives Arnheid and Garda a chance to flee.
出た。1機、2機、3機。よし、全員だ。
Look how organized and planned this is. This is Thorfinn.
エイナル。
I knew it! His dedication to helping Arnheid is what is gonna force him to keep running as fast and as far as he can. The fact that he's risking his own life for her means so much because he loves her. He doesn't care it's not returned. He's just so selfless that he'll do anything he can to ensure her freedom.
それよりわしも荷車に乗せろ。わしがいれば農場内で人に見とがめられずに済む。
It'll look less suspicious.
大旦那様を巻き込むわ
He's
けには。
already involved in this.
とっくに巻き込まれておる。
He's hid him.
死
Like,
後の言わず、さっさと手を貸せ。
he has empathy because he knows that if the role was reversed, he'd be in the same situation.
誰かがやろう。
That it is just fortune and luck that he didn't end up a slave. Has nothing to do with them being inferior and everything to do with them being the unfortunate victims of violence. He's under the bed. I was wondering where they were hiding him.
生きてる。いい手当てだ。けど、石のように冷たい。
He's ow
血
ow.
を流しすぎたんだ。
Oh, come on, Aina.
どう見たって重傷者の走りじゃねえよな。
Oh no, he suspects. He's gonna turn back.
無理に接近するな。奴がガルザルだったら、お前らの手には負えねえ。
He's gonna turn around because he
後で援
thinks
軍をよこす。
it's
それまでとことん
a
追跡し
trick.
ろ。
So he's gonna have to confront Thorfinn. Fuck.
急いで南の国境へ。
Oh no.
他国へ出てしまえば、客人たちも追うのが難しくなる。
Jeez, Thorfinn's strong, isn't
俺は
he?
途中で分か
He
れた
has to be
陽動を
with all the trees he's been like lugging, but the fact that he picks him up like he's a baby,
大旦
like
那
he
様は
weighs nothing, is
農場の外れ
insane.
まで同行願います。
Oh, fuck. Thorfinn. He's not gonna allow Snake to stop them. But he's also not gonna pick up a sword in
馬の
order to
足
do it.
音がしなかった。馬を降りて走ってきたのか。
Yeah, so that he wouldn't be heard.
意識がねえのか。気配を感じねえわけだ。
トロフィーさん、
He's like, go. I'll hold him.
言っておくぞ、トルフィー。交渉の余地はねえ。切る。
Oh, this is his test.
なんとかして動きを封じれば、まだ逃げられる。
やんのか、トルフィー。やれやれ、仕方ねえ。
Asgalad!
純粋な人助けだ。お前には原稿振るう大義名分がある。
Oh, the internal conflict.
もっとも
Because to use violence is to slip back into his old ways.
あくまで非暴力を貫くか、それとも人助けのために一戦ぶちかますか。本当の戦士へ至る道はどっちか。考える時間はねえぞ。
I love that it's Asgalad that comes to him and not his dad in this moment. Because he spent more time with Asgalad. So he remembers him more clearly. But it was also Asgalad that helped push him back towards this path. But you can see the tension on his face. He doesn't know what to do. He's so torn. He's like, do I use violence to subdue? Or do I be a complete pacifist? Like, he's like, Fours. It's not to kill, it's to protect. A true warrior doesn't need a sword.
槍でも斧でもねえ。いいや。
Daggers. But without them, he's not going to inflict harm or kill him. This is merely to protect. I hate that it's over. I find it really hard to understand which way he's going to go. In my mind, he's going to be very like Fours in that it is used for self-defense, it's used for protection. It's never used to actively take a life or to cause harm to others. It is always used to subdue. And this is the thing that I found constantly coming up was, for me, Fours did use his fists. He did use self-defense in order to protect those that he cared about and his own life, but he never killed anyone. And this is something I think Thorfinn has to realize, that he can defend those that he cares about without taking a life, without causing harm. His attempt here is not to hurt Snake, it's to subdue him. It's to give them a chance to get out of here. And it's a lesson that I think is a hard one for him, because he feels like he's slipping backwards. By becoming violent once more, it may lead back onto a slippery slope of descending into taking human lives, into causing harm and violence against others. But again, a true warrior doesn't need a sword, and he's proving that here. The way that he's in the stance with his fists as he would clutching the daggers, but without the daggers, is emphasizing that he can do this without taking a life, that there is a chance for him to defend and subdue without killing another person. But I love that we see Asgard and he's kind of playing devil's advocate. He's like, well, he has a good reason to attack you, but you also have a good reason to attack him. So how are you going to attack someone that also equally has as good of a reason as you to fight you? So he's almost trying to get him to think about it. But he's also saying, like, which road leads to becoming a true warrior? Pacifism is not going to stop a life being taken. It's not going to stop the harm that's going to come to Arnheid. So it's like, will you remain forsaking the use of violence altogether, or will you use it if it means helping someone else? Which is what Thors did. That's what his dad did. I think he's gonna have to. I don't think there's really any other way. And as much as he's feeling conflicted, I think the fact that he's not doing this to kill, he's not doing this to cause irrevocable harm, is the stepping stone, is the redemption. This is him solely doing this not for himself, not because he's angry, not for pleasure, not for any type of gain. It is solely to help someone in need, to protect others. Thors only used his fists to protect others too. So I think that's the difference, and that's sort of what he's coming to the realization of, is that he needs to only enact this insofar as it helps other people. It's not for himself, it's not for glory, it's not for gain, it's not for his masculine identity. It is solely to help someone like Arnheid, to prevent her from being subsumed back into the life of becoming a slave, that there is no other option, that she needs to be free, because this is what they want to erase, is slavery and war and violence. And if that means subduing Snake in order to do it, he's going to subdue him, but he's not going to kill him. He's not going to have his blood on his hands. I love that we see how resolute Einar and Thorfinn are to live up to their ideology of actually stepping in and helping her, knowing that there is no other option. She can't go back because Garda's her dream and freedom is now something that she aspires for. To expect her to return back to her life as a slave and for her child to be born into slavery, born into a life of knowing that their mother doesn't have freedom, that's not a life that anyone should have to live. And that's why Aino and Thorfinn are resolute in helping her, because she has suffered so much, but Garda has also suffered so much. And that's why she feels drawn to him, that kinship, that mutual suffering, and this hope that perhaps if they do get away, that they can rebuild, they can have what was taken from them, they can find a new start together and heal. And it may seem overly romanticized and idealistic, because she even says this is for a dream. Even she is scared to wish it into reality because she doesn't know if it'll be successful. But the fact that she's going along with it again emphasizes her love and care for Garda. And the fact that Sverkel is helping them, that he is trying to drum it home to Snake that these people are not inferior to you. They're here because of circumstance. This could easily have been you. It could easily have been me. And can you truly say, if you weren't in Garda's position, that you wouldn't do the same thing that Garda's doing? That's what he's trying to make him realize. And he wants him to put down the sword, to be a better man, to be a different type of man, much in the same way that Thors was trying to teach Thorfinn to put down the sword and to be a better man, to not look at violence as a way of being in this world, that there is another way to live without having your life defined by the sword. But this is going to be incredibly interesting in the next episode to see Thorfinn, and if we see more of that internal conflict that he's wrestling with, because pacifism is all good and well, but when it's going to cause harm to others, can you really stand by and watch it? And I think that's what Askeladd is trying to show him, is like, yes, pacifism is great in theory, but can you actually put it in practice if it's going to result in Snake taking another life? If you have to bear the guilt of knowing that you stood by and watched someone die, I don't think Thorfinn can do that. And again, Thors was on this path to becoming a true warrior. He forsake the sword, but that didn't mean that he forsake the use of violence insofar as it protected those in need and those that he cared about. And Thorfinn's about to do the same thing. He's doing the stance with the daggers, but doesn't have the daggers, which is incredibly moving in terms of imagery, because we're seeing how far he has come, that instead of reaching for a weapon, he's going to use his fists and the motions that he's learned from the past, but in a new way. He's not doing it to kill, he's not doing it to harm, he's doing it to protect. It's a visually striking contrast to the Thorfinn that we had in series 1 to the Thorfinn that we have now. It's emphasizing that journey and how far he has come, that he's not reaching for a weapon, that he's finally understanding that a true warrior doesn't need a sword. There's other ways to engage with someone than by killing them. And again, just Einar's love for Arnheid, his willingness to risk his own life to play decoy, knowing that if they catch him, they'll kill him. And all this because he loves her so much. All he's wanted for her is freedom. He has said time and time again that he wanted to find a way for her to be free. And this is the way. And even if that means having to let her go, of having to accept that she's going to be with her husband, that you'll never get to confess your feelings, that your dreams of maybe being together one day were merely that, dreams, it's never going to happen. It takes a very selfless individual to put all that aside, to care so deeply about someone that you would want their happiness over anything else. He's just such a good guy. He's so wonderful in terms of that moral fortitude, that strength, that resilience, but his willingness to give Arnheid what she's always wanted, and his love for her overrides everything else. He's not selfish. He's not demanding that she be with him. He's not resentful or spiteful towards her. He just wants her to be happy, even if that means risking himself in the process. And Thorfinn is standing up to Snake because he wants them to be free and to have this opportunity and chance for something better, something more. But I think that's all I want to say for now. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this react, please consider liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment below to help boost this video into the algorithm. Until next episode, bye!